Well, hi, and welcome to another LRCC Soundbite. I've been talking about some of the early kings of Israel over the past few weeks, so this week I'd like to introduce you to another of the prophets instead, the men and the women who would bring messages from God to his people. Now, sometimes these messages weren't really appreciated by the recipients, and that could get dangerous. When the prophet Elijah took God's latest message to the king, things didn't necessarily end harmoniously, shall we say. This story happens many years after Solomon was king. If you remember, he was the king I talked about last week, who had a very wise man. Now, this king is a man called Ahab. He's been doing things that have been leading people away from God and from what God wants them to do. So God's message is quite simple. Elijah turns up there in Ahab's court and announces that God has essentially given him the power over the rain, and that it was not going to rain again until Elijah said so. Now, I'm sure Ahab's initial reaction was that this was just some crackpot religious nutter. There was nothing to worry about. The sun shone that day and the next day, and everybody got a tan and it was fine. After a few weeks, it was still sunny, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it kept going. No sign of even a small cloud, never mind any rain. The longer this went on, the more he started to worry that there might have been something in it. Eventually, he decides he needs to go and find Elijah and force him to end this drought. But of course, Elijah is nowhere to be found. As soon as he's delivered this message, God told him to go and hide. First, he stayed hidden up by a little creek off the River Jordan. God looked after him there. He sent birds, ravens, with bread and meat for him, and he could get water from the creek. But as this drought went on, even the creek dried up. So God moved him on, told him to go to a small town some distance away and stay hidden, with a widow he would find who lived there. When Elijah arrived, it turned out this woman was right at the end of everything, really. She had enough food left simply to make one small meal for herself and her son, and then was expecting to find nothing more, and the two of them would die of starvation. But God had other plans. This woman was kind to Elijah, and the small amount of oil and flour that she still had, well, it seemed no matter how much she used, there was always more left. And for a couple of years, there was always more flour, there was always more oil, and all because God was looking after this woman, her son, and Elijah. There's something amazing about God providing things when you need them. It's not always food. It could be someone who knows exactly what to do. It could be the time to sort something out. It could be that money just seems to go a bit further than it normally does. I'm afraid, though, what I can't do is sit here and tell you that all you need to do is follow Jesus and all your problems go away. You know, even in this seemingly amazing story, things still kept going wrong for them. But through it, you see God helping and encouraging them to keep going until the drought ended. So this week, I think I just want to encourage you that God really does want the best for us. And when you get right to the end, to the point like that widow was at, where there really was nothing left to give, remember, just ask God. Because while you might not find he gives you everything you want, he's definitely in the business of providing what you really, really need. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.